Earlier this year, I almost gave up training calisthenics if it wasn't for this program. You see, in calisthenics, form is everything. It's this idealized holy grail that people in the calisthenics and street workout community all desire. And that's for good reason. Good form looks incredible, it looks sleek, it demonstrates complete mastery of a movement you can almost wear with a badge of honor. Without form, you're not truly respected in these communities, and that's not without reason. It's significantly easier to perform many of these moves and static skills with bad form, but great form is a symbol of heroic strength. I trained relentlessly, isolated for months with the one goal of full planche. I was able to achieve the full planche, and I was really relieved that I was capable. My genetics weren't shit, but I could do it, until we came across Instagram. I realized my fatal error. I learned the planche with bad form. I could already feel the dream of becoming one of the greatest in calisthenics slipping away, all that wasted effort doing attempts after attempts after attempts, all for nothing. At this point, I was going to give up on calisthenics. That was until I came up with this routine. This routine that helped me and so many other people, from comments in the video that introduced this routine and in DMs I received following the upload of this video as well. Now, in order to explain why this routine works so well for the average person, not just those with amazing genetics or gifted at bodyweight training, I'll have to explain how I figured it out. What did I figure out, I hear you ask? Well, how planche training actually works, why knowledge is power. That meant for me, no more random calisthenics bro science workouts of doing attempts and attempts and attempts for 20 sets, no more wondering if my self-made workouts are good or not, and no more guessing if I was making progress. But like I mentioned, I was at the point of giving up on calisthenics and training the planche. Despite being on the precipice of doing some of the most advanced calisthenics skills, Maltese, full planche presses, full planche push-ups, I couldn't fix my form, and that badge of honor, that trophy which is form, I just couldn't win. It's interesting though, it seemed like the information to get stronger quickly was either far too hidden and kept only to those in gymnastics or with great genetics or just the calisthenics greats. This is a sentiment I know some of you will relate to that aren't gifted in calisthenics. Is my plan good? How many sets should I do? How many days a week should I train? Am I training too much? Am I training too little? Will I ever be great? This is partly why I made this YouTube channel, to document the process of me finding out the answer to these questions by asking the legends themselves in interviews and documenting my own challenges to achieve the skills in 30 days, etc. You see, I'm an all or nothing person, so I felt like if I couldn't be great, I would not do calisthenics at all. I would just do something else that I was better at. So after realizing my form was kind of fucked, I carried on with the same way of calisthenics bro science, training sets and sets, just trying to improve my form, going to my absolute max, going through trial and error, but I did accumulate injuries after injuries. So I had 4 wrist injuries, 3 hand injuries, 2 forearm injuries, an elbow injury, and a minor shoulder injury. I came to believe that I was right. This is a skill for gymnasts, maybe not for me. Clearly, I didn't have the genetics for it. I kept getting injured. As you guys see, I have large legs as well. You guys mentioned this in comments. So maybe the planche isn't really for me. In my last efforts to search for the right answer and the right information, I came across the strength principles. The strength principles are how they sound, fundamental rules that are consistent and should be followed. They're used by athletes regardless of their sport, as long as they're in some kind of strength orientated sport. There are 7 strength principles, and they are the reason the new workout I constructed works so well for so many people. After all, it was worth it. This was my last life raft towards greatness, so I constructed my routine, the routine that changed how I would train forever. The routine consisted of 7 strength principles, which are specificity, overload, fatigue management, stimulus recovery adaptation, variation, phase potentiation, and individual difference. It also consisted of good programming, which is smart manipulation of the volume and intensity of the workouts over time. With this Fit Track Dara scale, they call it, I was able to go down, cut my weight to make my statics feel significantly easier, and this scale really helped me do it. They also had an app where I was able to track to make sure I wasn't losing muscle, and I was able to track my calories too at the same time, make sure that I was losing weight while maintaining my muscle so I would stay as strong as I could be. This scale was really easy to to use and really motivating, along with the app. So if you guys are interested in these kind of smart scales, check the link in the description. I'll have a link to this scale that I use, and it helped me keep my statics strong while losing weight and monitoring my health as well. But then, like a kick to the groin after being tapped on the shoulder, one day I woke with some wrist pain. Not just some wrist pain, some seriously bad wrist pain, like someone took an axe to my wrist and cut it down to the bone. That kind of pain right during the best weeks of my training. Did I do too much? Did I overprogram? Was this my last go at the planche? Like maybe my wrists just weren't cut out for planche. After all, I did do a lot of skateboarding in the years before I started calisthenics, so maybe my wrists just weren't cut out for it. It was like the calisthenics gods had other plans for me, man. During this time, I did remember a quote though. Strength does not come from physical capacity, it comes from indomitable will. Mahatma Gandhi. How could I give up? I trained 2 years for this. I remember what I had learned about prioritizing recovery, rehab and prehab, and after only a few days my wrist wasn't great but was good enough to work around. I was still a long way off the finish line, but I could continue to train the best way I could, injuries nagging constantly, but the strength principle focused based plan held me strong until the final weeks where my planche absolutely transformed. I even made a video on this program with other people weeks after mentioning things like this, and I think they speak for themselves. I now truly know that knowledge is actually indeed power, as cheesy as that is, and thus how to train now full planche to actually continue to become one of the greatest in the calisthenics community. And that day isn't anywhere soon, I don't think, but I will sure as hell will continue to try and get there, because that is my goal and that is my dream. Don't want to give up on either of those things, guys, even if it does seem hard. Do you want it bad enough? Let me know if you want me to make a full video breaking down the strength principles that I reinforce this program with, thanks to my channel members who receive personal coaching from me, so check that out if you're struggling with your own planche, and thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you'll learn even more about making effective programs by clicking here.